Greetings one and all, this is Rhythm Works and welcome to my channel. I don't think you even realize, but I was basically just doing a video and I was talking for freaking 12 minutes, and when I went to basically render the video, I realized my microphone was off. And I know I'm not the only person that goes through this, but anyway, that's the perils of running a channel. Sometimes certain things get in the way and make you forget the simplest of tasks. But anyway, greetings, this is Rhythm Works, welcome to my channel, and today I'm just basically giving a response to an email sent to me by one of my good mates, one of my subscribers, Sakuraba1982, in relation to a comment that was made on his channel. The video was entitled YouTube is Still Kinda Broken plus Small Channel Update. Now, he was talking about the fact that some of his subscribers can't see his uploads, and basically that being a YouTube problem. And I think it's because of, it's partly to do with the new layout as well. But it's not just an isolated problem. It's like a lot of people are basically talking about that, and I think he's just echoing people's sentiments and people's gripes with that situation. And in response to that, one of his subscribers basically was quoted as saying, quote, "One of the rather lame uploads of yours, don't mean to be a dick, but this was boring as hell. And to be honest, I don't care about technical issues you have with YouTube. You know I love your channel, but this lowers the usual higher." I don't know what that word means, or if this is a typo, but it's spelled H-I-G-H-A. But I think what he's basically, I basically get the grasp of what he's saying. And my opinion is that, everyone has a right to say what they want to say. If people want to go on YouTube and call you a piece of shit, they have a right to basically do that. At the end of the day, you can determine who has sense and who don't have sense, and who's ignorant and who's illiterate and who's sensible and who's articulate, you know what I mean, by the people that you meet in gaming, because gaming is the one thing that brings us together, so to speak. And in relation to what he basically said, he was stating that he doesn't really want to hear any technical issues in relation to YouTube. Well, to that I kind of asked this question to this same guy. What if you wanted to basically make that very same comment on Sakuraba's page, and for some reason that comment doesn't come up, it doesn't register? Are you going to try and tell me that you don't have no issues with YouTube? Or it's an issue that you think that people ain't going to be interested in wanting to hear about? Of course not. So everyone's issues with YouTube is going to be relative depending on what their situation is. Okay. The second thing is, Sack, you're my mate, but you keep talking about the effort that you basically put in your videos. Now, we all know this. We all know it because we do it. You know what I mean? We take effort in putting videos out there, and it's all relative again, right? Now, a mutual subscriber of ours, and you know this, right, has a Windows XP computer, right? And he puts up videos and he renders videos and what have you, and for a simple, 6-minute video will take him something like 3 to 4 freaking hours to render, but he's so dedicated, he does it, you know what I'm saying? He does it. And I've never heard him, mention, about the hard work he's basically put in, So it's easy to take each person's situation for granted and thinking, well, everyone's got an i7 processor computer and this and that. Everybody's got the, all the mod cons and what have you, but some people don't even have a decent capture card software. Some people don't have a decent computer and what have you, and still it doesn't affect the content that's basically put up, you know what I mean? So you know, we all get it, Sack. We all get it, mate. We all get it. You know what I mean? You know, because we all do it. You know, we all put effort into it. You know, and at least in my opinion, you know, there's interaction there. Whether it's deemed positive or negative is just down to the individual to see it for what it is. And I think what we do, you know, when we see comments like that and it doesn't feel right, you know, is that we're quick to basically respond to that. And sometimes that's not really a good thing, because, you know, that's what we do in anger. You know, we respond quick in anger, you know, and we don't process the information, you know, and return the comment in the same vein as what the contributor done. Do you know what I mean? You know, to basically say, well, you know, I almost blocked you because of this and that and this and that. It's like it has like a talk down kind of attitude. Do you know what I mean? I don't mean no disrespect, Sack, but it kind of does. And another thing as well is that, you know, what I notice about Americans, because I go there regular, you know, one thing about Americans is that they have a sense of irony. They have a sense of irony and a sense of sarcasm, which, you know, if you don't get it, you know, you would automatically think they're taking the piss out of you. Do you know what I mean? There's me raging. Look. You know, you'd automatically think that they're taking the piss out of you, and they're not really. It's just their way of basically, you know, it's just their way of conversing, and you just gotta basically just get it. You know what I mean? You know, it's not even so much anything to rise above. It's just to basically, you know, to understand that and not let it be lost in translation as something that is just directly negative towards you. Is when people come out with the "you're a faggot" freaking tagline. That means they haven't got anything to say. They run out. Their vocabulary quota has run dry. There's nothing left. So they will tend to go for the "you're a faggot." You know what I mean? But he's basically trying to explain and say, well, you know, in his next comment, quality of your channel. At least put in some beast gameplay regardless which game. But hey, it's your channel, and if you felt the urge to speak about it, then you have my blessing. I mean, look, you know, some douchebags wouldn't even freaking say that. You know what I mean? They will still stay on the faggot line. You know? But my thing is, at the end of the day, is that, you know, it's all about interaction. It really is. I like to interact with randoms and people that basically follow the channel, you know. And with the streaming video that I put up, I think that's something to take to another level as well, you know, because it's not, you know, YouTube is YouTube and people can have their issues with YouTube, but, you know, I just think is good to just try and find a different way of enhancing your channel by bringing different ideas to the fore, you know what I mean? And bring integration to it. I just think that's so important. It's not just about putting up videos, getting 10 subscriptions per day, and getting the odd decent comment here and there. Do you know what I mean? It's, you know, I would like to talk to people live, you know, find out what games they're basically playing, watch them playing certain games live and direct, you know, and see if it's a game that I would enjoy playing and what have you. And, you know, be more knowledgeable about certain games that's coming out there, because the people I'm subscribing to is giving me a lot of information in that regard, you know. And with that, you know, I can say whether or not, well, I'm not really feeling that game, you know, because you like Aliens, Colonial Marines, but I just can't stand that game. I don't like the game. Do you know what I mean? I basically bought the hype with that game, and when I actually started playing it, I just did not enjoy it. But you like it, you know what I mean? You know, but it's just something where I just can't even comment on it. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, you know, I've made my comments perfectly clear by putting a video up to say how much I don't like the game. But that's not to say that people can't like the game. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, it's just the way it is at the end of the day. It's just how it is. Let me see what else. There's 2 comments he basically said. Did he make any more comments? Okay. Yeah. I mean, you know, he was trying to placate you in your anger, you know, where he basically felt he had to say, well, no need to feel butthurt about this. You know what I mean? You know, that's an American thing, you know? Why is being hurt in the ass, you know, anything to do with someone's feelings? You know what I mean? It's just the way how Americans basically just put their point across, you know? But yeah, he says, no need to feel butthurt about this. I just told you my opinion about this. You still get my click and I didn't dislike the video officially by clicking that dislike button, did I? And to come around and say stuff like, if I want to post something, I will. It's ridiculous and childish since I told you it's your channel and you can do whatever you want with it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, to some degree, he's got a point. You know, he's got a point. You know, because there's people that don't even say shit and dislike and press the dislike button. Do you know what I mean? But he's saying shit and he's not pressing the dislike button. You know, and if you basically saw that from the get-go, you could have come to the conclusion that what he was basically saying wasn't filled with bad intention. You know, so that's more or less it. So I hope my response to what you're asking me, and I think it's a general thing as well, because, you know, YouTube is a thing that brings the beast from within the most placid of gamers. I mean, gaming is a thing that we are competitive by nature, but actually being a gamer and running a channel, that's like amplifying the crap 100-fold. Do you know what I mean? It's like the simplest little thing can basically piss you off, because you have certain principles that you stand by with certain games and certain elements of gameplay. I mean, like with me, co-op, my principle is you gotta have a mic. You got to have a mic, or else how else are you gonna converse with people and be cooperative by nature in basically whopping through a level? You know what I mean? But people still choose not to basically have a mic, and they want you to watch them be a beast and save their ass. You know what I mean? Those things wind me up, you know? But if I don't have a control in my hand, I'm a nice guy. But it's when I have that control in my hand, man, it's like, you know, something just basically takes over. And running a channel, boy, forget about it. You know what I mean? You know, that's when all the shit starts, you know? Because people can hate the fact that you're a good player, but they can even despise the fact that you're a good player and you got a good channel. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, it's all relative. But my thing to you, Sack, as I keep saying, and I will never tire of saying it to you, mate, you know what I mean? Because I value your friendship. You know, just got to take it easy, man. Digest the information first. That's all I can say. Digest the information and see it for how it's basically was put across. Because sometimes things that are written can come across, you know, in a negative way by us seeing that it's negative. Do you know what I mean? You know, without us even questioning, well, what do you mean exactly by that? Because if in doubt, that's what you need to ask. What do you mean by, you know, that you don't care about technical issues? By that very scenario that I basically raised in terms of him trying to put up comments and it not showing up in YouTube, that's automatically an issue. You know, of course he's gonna have an issue with that. Anyway, that's more or less it. And by what I've seen, it's kind of quashed at the end of the day. But, you know, but the experience that you went through is not exclusive. We all go through it. We all snap. You know, we all snap. And I think, you know, the more we basically do it, the more our enjoyment of simple gaming is taken away. I mean, I enjoyed gaming a lot more before I even had a capture card. You know what I mean? I enjoyed gaming a lot more when I had a capture card before I even made a YouTube channel. Do you know what I mean? So now I got to basically put it into context and perspective by having a capture card software and also having a channel as well, and seeing the pros and cons in that and just striking a balance, you know what I mean? And, you know, and bring inclusion and interaction, whether it be positive or negative, do you know what I mean? Because it's always going to be a cross between the two, but you're just going to have to stem the flow with the shit and just let all the positivity and the righteousness and, you know, and the good stuff flow, you know, and the constructive stuff flow. That's all really. Anyway, I'm off for my soapbox for now, and I hope that what I said has made any kind of sense to any of you. You know, I'm responding to Sak's questioning, but I'm just basically answering it in a more universal way. I'm not even really answering it directly, you know, with him in mind, because it's something that we all go through from time to time. So I hope you respect that. Anyway, I'm out of here. Have a blessed day. The sun is out here. It is a beautiful day, and I'm just gonna finish off some work, and I'll catch you guys later. Got another video to make, so I'll do that at some point later. But till such time, happy gaming. I'm out of here. Peace.